most grateful for?
Probably the family and friends that I have to support me. Because it's hard to do life without a support network, and your family is the most important support network you can have. Because there's someone you can always go to.
What is your best CIY collision or foundry memory?
I have two. My first one is that one time at Move when the AC broke and we were all up in the rafters worshiping. I just like it so much because it's so ridiculous. Because we were just all dying of heat stroke up there. The other one is the last day of CIY Move, I think 2023 maybe? When it's that day where you show all your hats. We play a bunch of Mafia and a bunch of games. Those days are just so much fun.
Where has Moxie had the biggest impact on your life?
Knew you were gonna ask this question. Everywhere. I would say there's just from your sermons, helps you everywhere, and then life group, just doing life with everybody.
What have you learned about responsibility?
It's showing up even when you don't want to. Being someone reliable and someone can count on.
What's your biggest dream?
Make my parents proud.
What makes life group valuable for you?
It gives you people to talk to and people you can go to for accountability and other things.
What's the most important thing to consider about friendships?
Choosing somebody you can trust and that's not going to turn on you at any point.
What's the biggest thing God has taught you in high school?
To trust him when things are good and then when things are tough, because he's there for you all the time.
And if you had to tell middle schoolers only one thing, most important thing you could tell like a 7th grade middle schooler, what would you tell them?
Don't give up on your dreams.
How does your small group support one another?
I think my small group supports one another by always asking the right questions, and we're always just there for each other, and we're not just a small group, we're friends. So
Funniest thing that's happened in Moxie since you got in Moxie?
So a couple weeks before our Christmas party, you had told us we were doing a talent show. And so that day I had an idea, because it was only supposed to be 1 minute, that we would do the 12 days of Christmas in 1 minute. And instead of us having deep talks that day, we spent the whole time rehearsing and practicing for our 12 days of Christmas performance. So, yeah.
What's the best advice you've been given up to now? Literally in your life.
I think the best advice I've been given, I don't really know how to word it, but it's people are going to dislike you no matter what you do, so you might as well be yourself. And another one that's really, really good is, it's actually on the radio, but it's the world is full of kind people, so if you can't find one, you should be one.
What are you most grateful for?
Most grateful for, would say my family. They uplift me, they encourage me, and they've got me to where I'm at now.
What are you most afraid of next?
Stepping into a new environment. I'm moving to Alabama, playing football, so it's going to be a lot of adjusting to, making new friends, not knowing anyone.
What's the biggest thing God has taught you in high school?
That being friends with a lot of people isn't always the best. Smaller circle is a lot easier to navigate and don't have to make more people happy when you can just hang out with a couple guys and have a fun time.
What is the most valuable thing in the world?
Well, when we were all talking about this question, we decided it was love. Yeah.
What have you learned about responsibility?
You have to be able to be responsible for yourself before you can be responsible for other people. Otherwise, you won't succeed.
What is the most important thing to consider about friendships?
The most important thing to consider about friendships is that you have to be able to be your true self and you have to be able to trust your friends. Otherwise, you'll never have an authentic friendship.
What are you the most grateful for?
I would say I'm the most grateful for my parents and them loving me and me being in a good environment. So they raised me right and taught me how to succeed in the world, I would say.
What's the best advice you've been given up to now?
Put yourself in situations where you feel uncomfortable because it teaches you how to grow and how to adapt to new environments. So, yeah.
What are you the most afraid of next?
I'm moving far away because I'm going to New York, so just the unknown, basically. Never really been away from my parents my whole life, so going away is definitely a little scary, but I'm also excited at the same time, so. Yeah.
What's the biggest thing God has taught you in high school?
I have like 10 different things, but they're not like any of them aren't complete thoughts. The biggest thing God has taught me in high school is that you can plant a seed, but you can't make it grow. That's his job. That's not my responsibility.
Where has Moxie had the biggest impact on you?
Moxie's biggest impact on me is like throughout the years since I came here in 6th grade all the way up to my senior year. This has been the one place that I can 100% truthfully say I can be my authentic self here. Like, if I don't know who I am, I think about who I am at Moxie.
Only one more.
I'm such a crier. Like I cry about everything you can imagine this season for me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
I cry about everything.
What's the one thing you're going to tell like a 7th grader?
The one thing that I would tell a 7th grader now is that Moxie isn't the place to be embarrassed or be shy or be worried about what people think about you. Like, you come and you find your people here, and you're only gonna get out as much as you put in. If you're sitting in life group and you're silent and you're not engaging, then you're not gonna get anything out of it. But if you're sitting and having a true fellowship with the girls or boys in your group, that's when you're gonna get something out of it.
What's the best advice you've been given up to now?
Take what other people say with a grain of salt.
How does your small group support one another?
Because we all know it's like a safe place where we can always say whatever we want and won't leave that room.
What's your biggest dream?
To build stronger relationships with people around me and with God.
That's a good one. What are you most afraid of next?
I'm most afraid of failing in the profession I wanted to go into because I want to be a sports photographer, or if that feels working sports media. And it's mostly a male-dominated profession, and it's either like, yes, you can practice, but you're either good or you're not. You don't get like taught it. You just have to like figure it out. So.
What's the best advice you've been given up to now?
Not to let the ugly in others kill the beauty in you. It really cut deep at the time, and it still does every time I hear it.
How does your small group support one another?
I always just talk in small group. Like, I'll just be talking about whatever, and like they always just listen, and like it doesn't matter who it is. Like, we always just like sit there and we're just like always listening, and everyone's always like interested and engaged and like checking up on each other about whatever we were talking about, even if it's like the most random thing in the world. Like, everyone's always listening.
Where has Moxie had the biggest impact on you?
I think Moxie had a big impact, just all the people been around, just been with everybody for so long, and it's just been a lot of friends that I have made with Moxie.
What have you learned about responsibility?
To make the right choices and think before you do stuff, because if you don't, you get into a lot of trouble if you don't. So just think before you do the bad choice.
What are you the most afraid of next?
I don't know, just stepping out into the real world and seeing like if I'm gonna succeed or just how it's gonna go. I got big dreams, so.
Oh, what's your biggest dream?
Just make a lot of money.
Have
a good life.
What is the most important thing to consider about friendships?
Definitely like how like they make you feel in the friendship and like how they can help you grow closer to God and just like take things into consideration like that and like how they're gonna affect your future and like help you in the present.
How does your small group support one another?
I think that like we're all just like a close like knit family and we're able to like talk openly about what's going on in our lives and like what we're accomplishing and what we're working towards and like how we can help each other like throughout that. And that's just something that like does help a lot on Wednesday nights.
You have a moment to tell a 7th grader one thing to help them out. What do you tell them?
I would definitely say surround yourself with people who you know like care about you and like will always be there for you and support you in your decisions.
What's the best advice you've been given up to now?
Probably about having patience and not trying to rush everything in your life, like waiting for something to happen rather than forcing it to happen.
What have you learned about responsibility?
That it can get you a long way with a lot of people, showing that you actually care about something enough to show up for it or to do it, and being responsible enough to do it.
What do you think is the most important thing to consider about friendships?
Whether or not they're healthy, they're good for you, like those people you should be around, and that they're not pulling you to the opposite direction. They're not hurting you emotionally or spiritually even.
Where has Moxie had the biggest impact on you?
I honestly feel like Moxie has just been a really like big place for me to find myself. To be honest, I haven't always fit in, and I've always it took me a while to feel like I belonged anywhere. But kind of growing along with other people and having adults who are like, pouring into me and showing me you are loved, you are like, there's a place for you here. But then like, even if I didn't have like a substantial amount of friends, I still have God and I'm still learning about God and I'm learning how to like grow in my faith. So that's been a really big part of Moxie for me. Just kind of being able to figure out my place in the kingdom.
What is your biggest dream?
My biggest dream? I'm not 100% sure, but I do know that as a Christian, but also as a growing woman, I would love to potentially have a family and be able to, teach my future children about the love of God and build a relationship with potentially a partner and, have like that, that family dynamic of, going to church on Sundays and, doing little Bible studies and kind of being able to teach kids about the love of Christ. I've loved getting to do that with Kidmo, and so being able to potentially teach my own future children would be amazing.
What are you the most grateful for?
I would say I'm most grateful for my family, just because they're always there. Anytime I need them, I can go to them, and anytime they need me, I can help them out when they need to.
What's your best Moxie memory? CIY, whatever, anywhere.
Best Moxie memory? It was at Mix, and there was someone in our group that would not stop farting. So to get revenge on them, we doused his entire bed and pillow with every Axe spray can that we could get our hands on. The entire bed. It reeked for the whole week.
It's a good one. Biggest thing God has taught you in high school?
I would say not to envy others, especially others that are older than you. I struggled with that a lot during high school. I would always compare myself to older people, thinking I was behind in life. And I kind of just realized the only person I should ever compare myself to is the person I was yesterday.
What's the most valuable thing in the world?
Probably the family or friends around you.
What have you learned about responsibility?
It takes time to know what you have to be responsible for.
What's the biggest thing God has taught you in high school?
Trust in Him. Give Him all your worries.
What's the most important thing you consider about friendships?
Not everybody's going to be your friend.
What is the biggest thing God has taught you in high school?
I would say to not squeeze yourself into rooms that you know you don't belong. So just always be yourself. And you know where you belong, and you know who your true friends are. So don't try to fit in somewhere you know you don't belong.
What is the most valuable thing in the world?
Love. Yeah.
Love?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
guys really did have a meeting beforehand.
Oh no, who said that?
Where has Moxie had the biggest impact on you?
It taught me how to be a good friend, how to be a better friend than I was being, even though I don't think I was being a bad friend. But I think I definitely had room to grow. And I think having friends that I've been so close to in Moxie has really taught me to how to be there for people spiritually and, in other aspects, but definitely how to be a better friend in ways that I was lacking before.
Actually, I'm going to ask you one more because of that.
Okay.
Run into a 7th grader, tell them one thing to help them.
Okay.
What's the one thing?
This is so cliche, but just soak it up. Like sitting here now, I wish more than anything in the world that I could have it back and, do things that I didn't do or redo some things that I did and just kind of took for granted. And everything goes by so fast. And now I'm an adult almost, so it feels weird, but definitely soak it up. Don't let it slip by. That's all.
Great.